Did you know Bette Davis and Marlon Brando were considered real-life jerks? Their difficult behavior on set frustrated directors and co-stars alike, with some wishing they could be replaced. But they weren't alone. Here are 15 golden-era actors known for being notoriously difficult in real life. Joan Crawford. She was not actually a jerk, but her relentless perfectionism often turned her into a headache for directors and colleagues. Crawford was so tough that she refused to perform a scene unless it met her exacting standards, which made her both a revered star and a source of frustration on set. This uncompromising attitude, while a testament to her dedication, frequently alienated those around her. Crawford's obsession with detail extended to every aspect of her performances. Directors often found themselves on the receiving end of her perfectionist demands, as she insisted on countless retakes to ensure her lighting, angles, and delivery were flawless. For example, on the set of Mildred Pierce, Crawford reportedly clashed with the cinematographer over lighting setups that she felt didn't capture her beauty adequately. This resulted in delays and tensions that left the crew exasperated, even as she delivered an Oscar-winning performance. Her feud with Bette Davis during Whatever Happened to Baby Jane remains one of Hollywood's most infamous rivalries. Crawford reportedly sabotaged Davis by spreading rumors and even resorted to physical tricks, such as adding weights to her costume during scenes where Davis had to drag her. These actions disrupted the production and underscored Crawford's willingness to manipulate situations to her advantage. Crawford's interactions with co-stars and extras were similarly fraught. She maintained a strict hierarchy on set, often speaking down to those she deemed inferior. While many admired her drive and professionalism, others resented her for her condescending behavior and her insistence on being the center of attention. Despite her difficult reputation, Joan Crawford's immense talent and determination solidified her as one of Hollywood's most iconic actresses. However, her relentless pursuit of perfection often overshadowed her kindness, leaving behind a legacy as both a legend and a polarizing figure in the industry. Her story serves as a complex reminder of how greatness can sometimes come at the expense of relationships and goodwill. Bette Davis. The two-time Oscar-winning actress was infamous for her on-set clashes, stemming from her high expectations of herself and everyone around her. On the set of Jezebel, the film that won her second Oscar, Davis's obsession with perfection made her both admired and feared. She demanded that the wardrobe team ensure every button, thread, and accessory aligned with her vision, and if it didn't, her wrath was palpable. She was unrelenting, once reducing a costume assistant to tears over a misplaced ribbon. For her, every detail mattered because it contributed to the authenticity of her performance. But this intensity often made working with her a nightmare for others. Her disputes weren't limited to the crew. Davis's co-stars frequently bore the brunt of her temper. She famously called Miriam Hopkins difficult during their collaboration on Old Acquaintance. Yet critics and insiders often pointed out that Davis herself instigated their infamous feud by mocking Hopkins's acting abilities. Even male leads weren't spared. On the set of All About Eve, her legendary performance as Margot Channing was accompanied by her constant criticisms of Gary Merrill, whom she later married, calling him lazy during filming. Her disdain extended to directors as well, accusing them of incompetence if they disagreed with her interpretation of a scene. She once walked off the set of Dark Victory because she felt director Edmund Goulding wasn't capturing her best angles. Despite the brilliance she brought to the screen, these moments of unchecked arrogance made it difficult for her colleagues to fully appreciate her genius. Bette Davis's immense popularity and success amplified the weight of her behavior. She did over 100 films. She earned 2 Academy Awards for Best Actress for Dangerous in 1935 and Jezebel in 1938, and received a record-breaking 10 Oscar nominations for leading roles. In 1999, the American Film Institute ranked her as the second greatest female star of classic Hollywood cinema. Her popularity endured through decades, making her one of the most celebrated actors of all time. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, the dashing swashbuckler who became synonymous with adventure films like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood, was as infamous off-screen as he was celebrated on it. While his good looks and charisma made him a box office sensation, his behavior toward colleagues, extras, and even fans painted a much darker picture. Flynn's self-indulgent lifestyle and disregard for others often made him a nightmare to work with. One major reason Flynn was considered a jerk was his habit of mocking co-stars, particularly those he deemed less talented or experienced. On the set of Captain Blood, Flynn reportedly belittled cast members for fumbling their lines or not keeping up with his energy. Instead of offering encouragement, he used their mistakes as fodder for public jokes, which embarrassed them and created a toxic work environment. His sense of superiority also extended to extras and crew members, who often described him as condescending and dismissive, treating them as if they were beneath him. Flynn's penchant for practical jokes frequently crossed the line into cruelty. For example, he was known to tamper with props, causing accidents that he found amusing but left others humiliated or injured. This behavior alienated many who worked alongside him, as they never knew when they might become the target of one of his pranks. His chronic lateness and lack of professionalism also made him difficult to handle. Flynn was notorious for arriving on set hours late, often hungover from the previous night's parties. His cavalier attitude delayed productions and frustrated directors and cast members alike. Instead of apologizing, Flynn would often charm his way out of trouble, leaving others to pick up the slack caused by his irresponsibility. Perhaps most damaging to Flynn's reputation were his legal troubles and off-screen scandals. Accusations of statutory rape in the 1940s tarnished his image and became fodder for tabloids, casting a long shadow over his career. While Flynn was acquitted, the scandal reinforced his reputation as a man who exploited his charm and power for selfish and often harmful ends. In short, Errol Flynn's undeniable talent and screen presence were overshadowed by his arrogance, disregard for others, and penchant for reckless behavior. His antics may have added to his rebellious mystique, but for those who worked with him, Flynn's charm masked a deeply self-centered and often cruel personality that earned him the label of a real jerk. Gable. Clark Gable, the King of Hollywood, was renowned for his charm, charisma, and legendary performances in films like Gone with the Wind and It Happened One Night. However, behind his dashing persona, Gable was often criticized for his dismissive and entitled behavior, especially toward those he considered beneath his stature. While his on-screen charisma endeared him to audiences, his off-screen actions revealed a much less appealing side. One reason Gable earned a reputation as a jerk was his treatment of co-stars and colleagues. During the filming of Gone with the Wind, Gable openly mocked Vivien Leigh, the actress portraying Scarlett O'Hara. Leigh was known for her dedication to her craft, meticulously preparing for each scene, but Gable dismissed her efforts as overly dramatic and referred to her as a prima donna behind her back. This created a tense dynamic on set, as Leigh struggled to navigate the pressures of the role while enduring Gable's condescension. Gable's aloofness extended to extras and crew members. Those working on his films often described him as unapproachable, noting that he rarely engaged with anyone outside the main cast or creative team. Extras recalled being ignored or treated as invisible, with Gable refusing to acknowledge their presence. This behavior was especially galling given the collaborative nature of filmmaking, where every participant plays a role in the production's success. He also used his star power to manipulate situations to his advantage, disregarding the rules others had to follow. On the set of Mutiny on the Bounty, Gable insisted on multiple retakes of scenes, not because they were flawed, but because he was dissatisfied with how his performance appeared compared to his co-stars. This habit of prioritizing his image over the team's collective efforts frustrated directors and crew members who were forced to accommodate his whims. Gable's dismissive attitude extended beyond the workplace. Reports from fans who met him often described him as curt or indifferent, a stark contrast to his affable on-screen persona. While his star power made him one of the most beloved actors of his time, those who worked with him frequently saw a man whose ego and entitlement eclipsed his legendary talent. For all his cinematic achievements, Gable's behavior earned him the reputation of being, at times, a real jerk. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart, the quintessential tough guy of Hollywood's golden age, became a cultural icon through his roles in classics like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon. However, his off-screen behavior often contrasted starkly with his cool, composed on-screen persona. While his talent and charm were undeniable, Bogart was also known for being abrasive, difficult, and, at times, downright unpleasant. One of the clearest examples of Bogart's difficult personality emerged during the filming of The African Queen. His co-star, Katharine Hepburn, a consummate professional with a rigorous work ethic, quickly became the target of Bogart's mockery. Hepburn's teetotaling and health-conscious lifestyle clashed with Bogart's love for drinking and smoking, leading him to nickname her Miss Goody Two-Shoes. He frequently teased her about her prim demeanor and even dismissed her efforts to keep the production running smoothly in the harsh jungle environment. Hepburn later recounted in her memoir that Bogart's drinking and casual attitude often frustrated her, creating an ongoing tension between the two. Bogart's penchant for heavy drinking wasn't just a personal vice, it often disrupted filming schedules. On multiple occasions, he showed up late or unprepared, forcing directors and co-stars to work around his hangovers. During the filming of To Have and Have Not, Lauren Bacall, his future wife, reportedly had to cover for him during scenes when his drinking impaired his performance. His combative nature extended to directors as well. Bogart frequently argued with them over creative decisions, insisting his interpretation of a scene was correct, and dismissing alternative suggestions. On the set of In a Lonely Place, his clashes with director Nicholas Ray became so heated that it nearly derailed the film. Bogart's refusal to compromise often created a tense atmosphere, as his colleagues felt forced to accommodate his strong-willed nature. Bogart's abrasive demeanor wasn't limited to work. Socially, he was known for his sharp tongue and sarcastic wit, which often alienated those around him. While his charm won over some, others found his humor cutting and mean-spirited. His legendary talent as an actor made him one of the most revered stars of his time, but his behavior both on and off set solidified his reputation as someone who could be a real jerk. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando was considered erratic, egotistical, and having inconsiderate behavior on set, which made him one of the most challenging actors to work with. One of the most infamous examples of Brando's difficult nature was during the filming of Mutiny on the Bounty. Brando's refusal to adhere to the script or follow directorial instructions frustrated not only the film's director, Louis Milestone, but also his co-stars. Brando was notorious for improvising lines and altering scenes to suit his vision, often derailing production schedules. Co-star Trevor Howard reportedly grew so frustrated with Brando's antics that their on-set relationship turned icy, with Howard calling Brando a spoiled, self-indulgent child. Brando's tardiness became a recurring issue during production. He was often hours late, keeping the cast and crew waiting while he indulged in leisurely breakfasts or engaged in personal hobbies. When he did arrive on set, his demands for special treatment disrupted the workflow. For instance, Brando insisted on changes to the script to give his character more depth, even if it meant rewriting scenes at the last minute. These delays drove the film wildly over budget, with production costs spiraling out of control, a significant factor in the film's eventual commercial failure. His disdain for extras and crew members further cemented his reputation as a jerk. On Mutiny on the Bounty, when extras voiced complaints about grueling work conditions, Brando dismissed them as ungrateful, downplaying their struggles. This condescension created resentment among the team, who already viewed him as self-absorbed and disconnected from the reality of production challenges. Brando's erratic behavior extended to other films as well. On the set of Apocalypse Now, his refusal to prepare for his role led to chaos. He showed up overweight and admitted he hadn't read the script, forcing director Francis Ford Coppola to rewrite much of the movie on the fly to accommodate him. Brando's demands for control, coupled with his unprofessionalism, pushed the production into disarray. Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn, a trailblazing Hollywood legend, was celebrated for her fiercely independent spirit and extraordinary acting talent. With 4 Academy Awards and a career spanning 6 decades, she became one of the most revered figures in film history. However, Hepburn's strong-willed nature and relentless pursuit of perfection often alienated those who worked with her, earning her a reputation for being difficult to handle. One of Hepburn's most notorious displays of dominance occurred on the set of The Philadelphia Story, a film that cemented her place as a leading lady. While her performance was universally lauded, her behavior behind the scenes left much to be desired. Hepburn, who had significant creative control over the project, frequently imposed her ideas on the director and co-stars. She would interrupt conversations, insist her vision was superior, and dismiss alternate suggestions with little regard for collaboration. This assertiveness, while a testament to her confidence, frustrated colleagues who felt sidelined. Hepburn's lack of patience for those she deemed less intelligent or less committed often caused tension on set. She had a particular disdain for actors who didn't match her work ethic, and she wasn't shy about showing it. During the filming of Woman of the Year, her co-star Spencer Tracy reportedly bore the brunt of her high-handed criticism. Though the two later developed a close personal and professional bond, Hepburn's initial treatment of Tracy reflected her tendency to steamroll anyone she felt was not meeting her exacting standards. Her clashes with directors were equally legendary. Hepburn had little tolerance for what she perceived as incompetence or inefficiency. On the set of The African Queen, she frequently argued with director John Huston, questioning his methods and even attempting to override his decisions. Crew members often found her condescending and overly opinionated, which created a challenging atmosphere on set. Despite her brilliance, Hepburn's perfectionism and strong personality could make her intimidating and difficult to approach. While her commanding presence helped her dominate the screen, it also made working alongside her a daunting task. Her behavior, driven by her uncompromising standards, left a lasting impression as both a hallmark of her greatness and a source of frustration for those who had to endure it. John Wayne. John Wayne, one of the most iconic figures of Hollywood's golden age, built his legacy on larger-than-life portrayals of rugged heroes in films like Stagecoach and The Searchers. With over 170 films to his name and an Academy Award for True Grit, Wayne was one of the biggest box office draws of his era. However, his domineering personality and uncompromising nature often made him a polarizing and difficult figure on set, earning him a reputation as a real jerk. On the set of The Alamo, a passion project he directed and starred in, Wayne's overbearing behavior reached new heights. Determined to make the film a success, he was relentless in pushing the cast and crew to follow his vision, often resorting to bullying tactics. Actors recalled Wayne shouting at crew members for minor mistakes and berating extras for not following his instructions with military precision. His perfectionism often came across as authoritarian, with some crew members describing the production as more of a dictatorship than a collaborative effort. Wayne's refusal to accept input from others created a tense working environment, with many walking on eggshells around him. Wayne's strong political beliefs also caused friction on set. Known for his staunch conservatism, Wayne had little tolerance for those who didn't share his views. On more than one occasion, he berated co-stars for expressing liberal opinions, leading to heated arguments. During the filming of The Green Berets, Wayne clashed with actor David Janssen, who criticized the film's overtly pro-Vietnam War stance. Wayne dismissed Janssen's concerns and reportedly told him to keep his politics out of it, even though Wayne's own views were central to the project. Wayne's intolerance for mistakes made him a particularly challenging figure to work with. Co-stars and directors often found him unwilling to compromise, and his towering presence on set could be intimidating. While some admired his dedication to his craft, others found his unyielding attitude exhausting. Actress Maureen O'Hara, who worked with Wayne on several films, described him as unapologetically headstrong, but admitted that his stubbornness often veered into outright rudeness. Gloria Swanson. Swanson was considered one of the most difficult figures to work with. Some consider her the ultimate jerk in Hollywood. Swanson's behavior during her silent film heyday epitomized the excesses of stardom. She was known for insisting that entire sets be rebuilt if they didn't align with her exacting standards, no matter the cost or inconvenience to the crew. On one occasion, she demanded that a lavish ballroom scene be reconstructed because the lighting didn't complement her gown. Directors and set designers frequently found themselves at her mercy, forced to accommodate her whims to keep productions on track. Her on-set demands reached new levels during the filming of Sunset Boulevard, the film that would come to define her career. Working with director Billy Wilder, Swanson's perfectionism clashed with Wilder's no-nonsense approach to filmmaking. She reportedly insisted on multiple takes for scenes she didn't feel captured her character's essence, often overruling Wilder's direction. Their creative differences led to heated arguments, with Swanson refusing to back down even when Wilder threatened to cut scenes she had labored over. Her insistence on having control over her portrayal of Norma Desmond created friction throughout the production. Extras and crew members who worked with Swanson often described her as dismissive and aloof. She rarely interacted with anyone outside her immediate circle, treating background actors and lower-ranking crew as insignificant. On one occasion, an extra who accidentally bumped into her on set was reportedly reduced to tears after Swanson scolded them in front of the entire cast. Despite these challenges, Swanson's undeniable talent and dedication to her craft often overshadowed her difficult reputation. Sunset Boulevard became a cinematic masterpiece, largely due to her unforgettable performance. Judy Garland. Judy Garland was notoriously challenging to work with some going so far as to label her one of Hollywood's most unbearable personalities. Despite her status as a beloved star of classics like The Wizard of Oz and Meet Me in St. Louis, Garland's erratic behavior, fueled by addiction and personal struggles, often made her a challenging and unpredictable colleague on set. During the filming of The Wizard of Oz, Garland's frequent tardiness and mood swings caused significant delays. Crew members and co-stars, including Ray Bolger, who played the Scarecrow, recalled her unpredictability as a constant source of frustration. Garland's dependency on studio-prescribed amphetamines to maintain her grueling work schedule exacerbated her instability. She would arrive late, sometimes unable to perform, and occasionally needed to be coaxed into completing scenes. These disruptions forced the crew to work longer hours and reshoot scenes repeatedly, straining both budgets and patience. Garland's insecurities also created tension among her colleagues. She often accused others of trying to undermine her or steal the spotlight. For instance, during the filming of Meet Me in St. Louis, she reportedly clashed with director Vincente Minnelli over his attention to her co-stars, fearing that her own role might be diminished. Her emotional outbursts and jealousy made it difficult for the cast and crew to maintain a harmonious working environment. Additionally, Garland's treatment of extras and minor crew members added to her reputation for being difficult. On more than one occasion, she lashed out at individuals over minor mishaps, such as wardrobe malfunctions or misplaced props. While some sympathized with her as a victim of the Hollywood machine, others found her behavior self-centered and exhausting. Despite her immense talent and enduring legacy, Judy Garland's struggles and erratic behavior left a trail of exasperated colleagues in her wake. James Cagney. James Cagney was regarded as one of Hollywood's finest actors, but his intense dedication to his craft and uncompromising nature often made him difficult to work with. While his performances in films like Angels with Dirty Faces and Yankee Doodle Dandy earned him widespread acclaim, his behavior behind the scenes frequently left colleagues frustrated and alienated. Some saw him as overly focused and dismissive, while others considered him outright hostile. On the set of Angels with Dirty Faces, Cagney's obsession with realism created tension among the cast. Known for his meticulous preparation, he often clashed with co-stars who didn't approach their roles with the same intensity. His criticism of those he deemed less methodical was blunt and unfiltered, leading to awkward on-set confrontations. Co-stars recalled Cagney's unwillingness to compromise, describing him as domineering and single-minded in his pursuit of perfection. Cagney's aloofness further added to his reputation. Extras and crew members often found him unapproachable, as he rarely engaged in casual conversation or small talk. He was known to brush off attempts to interact with a curt response, signaling his preference for keeping his focus on the job at hand. While some admired his professionalism, others saw it as cold and dismissive, creating an uninviting atmosphere on set. Adding to the friction, Cagney's intense work ethic occasionally bordered on overbearing. He was known to challenge directors over creative decisions, insisting that his vision be prioritized. On more than one occasion, this led to heated arguments, with directors struggling to rein in his strong-willed nature. Despite these challenges, Cagney's dedication to his craft left an indelible mark on cinema. However, his relentless focus and often dismissive demeanor earned him a reputation as a difficult and at times unkind colleague. For all his talent, working alongside him was no easy feat. Mae West. Mae West wasn't just a star, she was the show. With her sharp wit, sultry one-liners, and unapologetic attitude, she ruled Hollywood like it was her personal stage. But that larger-than-life personality didn't always make her easy to work with. On set, West was all about control, and if you didn't fall in line, you were in for a rough time. Take She Done Him Wrong, for example. West not only starred in the film, but practically ran the show. She clashed with director Lowell Sherman over creative decisions, going so far as to insist on taking over certain aspects of directing herself. It didn't help that she rewrote scripts to make sure her character got more lines and screen time than anyone else. Some might call it ambition, but her co-stars saw it as pure ego. And lighting? Oh, that was a big deal for Mae. She demanded specific lighting setups to make sure she looked flawless on camera, no matter how much extra work it created for the crew. If the lighting didn't meet her standards, she wasn't afraid to delay filming until it was just right. For someone working alongside her, it probably felt less like a movie set and more like Mae West's personal vanity project. Her co-stars weren't immune to her antics either. Many complained about her need to hog the spotlight, both figuratively and literally. Sharing a scene with Mae often felt like playing second fiddle, and she made it clear she wasn't there to be outshined. Mae West was undeniably talented, but working with her, let's just say she made sure everyone knew who the star of the show was, and it was always Mae. Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy's reputation as one of Hollywood's most respected actors often clashed with the reality of his behavior on set. While his 2 Academy Awards and iconic performances earned him critical acclaim, his struggles with alcoholism made him an unpredictable and difficult presence during filming. On the set of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Tracy's declining health and volatile mood swings created a tense atmosphere that left even the most experienced crew members uneasy. Known for lashing out over minor issues, his outburst kept everyone on edge, and his erratic behavior frequently disrupted the production process. While Katharine Hepburn remained steadfastly loyal and protective of him, others found his moodiness and temper exhausting. Tracy's brilliance as an actor was undeniable, but working with him required patience and fortitude in equal measure. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow's glamorous image made her a beloved star of Hollywood's golden age, but her on-set behavior was far less dazzling. Known for her diva tendencies, Harlow often arrived late to filming, leaving directors and co-stars frustrated. On the set of Platinum Blonde, she reportedly clashed with her colleagues over costume choices, insisting on having the final say, even when it disrupted the production schedule. Her demands for frequent breaks and constant attention from the crew further slowed down the filming process. While some admired her confidence and charm, others saw her behavior as selfish and unnecessarily dramatic. Harlow's star power was undeniable, but her diva antics made her a challenging figure on set. William Holden. William Holden's rugged good looks and natural charisma made him a leading man of the 1950s, but his struggles with alcohol often cast a shadow over his professionalism. During the filming of Stalag 17, Holden's drinking frequently caused disruptions, from showing up late to heated arguments with director Billy Wilder. His co-stars described him as distant and moody, sometimes disappearing from set for hours, leaving the crew scrambling to adjust. Holden's unpredictable behavior frustrated those who relied on him, as his drinking often blurred the lines between the dedicated actor he could be and the disruptive presence he sometimes was. While his talent shone through in his performances, working with him was an exercise in patience and resilience. Bonus: Lawrence Tierney. Lawrence Tierney was the kind of actor whose natural swagger and gruff disposition made him the perfect fit for the Hollywood tough guy archetype. Known for his erratic and oftentimes violent nature, Tierney drew upon his bellicose reputation throughout his career, a reputation that made him one of the most feared and mythologized characters in the industry. Born in Brooklyn to Irish-American parents, Tierney worked in theater productions in New York before moving to Hollywood, where he signed with RKO Radio Pictures in 1943. His biggest roles would come in Dillinger, 1945, in which he played 1930s gangster and bank robber John Dillinger, and Robert Wise's film noir classic Born to Kill, in 1947. In the mid-1980s, Tierney returned to acting. With a somewhat cooler head, he established himself again with recurring roles in shows such as Seinfeld and Star Trek: The Next Generation. He would take on his final projects as a septuagenarian in Reservoir Dogs in 1992 and Armageddon in 1998, where his on-set behavior would once again draw the ire of his colleagues and studio representatives. He would go down swinging just shy of his 83rd birthday, his tough guy image solidly intact until the end. I don't